Toward the end of May, a TikTok creator named Brad, who posts under the handle at @DarkEncounters0, started experiencing strange disturbances throughout his apartment. He made the decision to film anything out of the ordinary, and over the course of 4 days, whatever was happening only seemed to escalate. It all began with something minor, a video game case that appeared to shift on its own. The Resident Evil case slowly seems to rotate on top of the pile with nobody visibly making contact with it. It's possible it was simply off balance. But later that very same night, the door to Brad's bedroom started swinging open by itself. His cat immediately picked up on it and cautiously crept toward the darkened entrance. When Brad went to investigate, what his camera caught was far more unsettling.
In that door for a while now. Oh. Oh no. Freakiest place I've ever been. Butter, get out here. I can't do it anymore.
After the door swings open on its own, Brad's cat ventures into the bedroom. But as Brad steps closer, a dark silhouette in the shape of a human figure becomes visible near the bed. Shaken by what he's just recorded, Brad retreats, exits the apartment entirely, and locks the door on his way out. A draft could explain the door swinging open, and that shadowy shape might turn out to be nothing more than an object lurking in the dark. Still, when Brad came back the next day, even his cat appeared reluctant to set foot inside the bedroom. The cat lingers in the doorway, peering into the room, but unwilling to step inside. Brad says his pets have never acted like this before, so on June 2nd, he conducted a thorough search of the bedroom in broad daylight. He came up empty, but when he reviewed the footage afterward, he picked up on a faint voice he swears he never heard while he was actually recording.
So this is where I've been getting most of the activity from, right here in my bedroom. Just looks like a normal bedroom. I don't know. Is there anybody in here? Is there anybody in this room?
That sound could be ambient noise from somewhere nearby, or simply Brad's brain turning a random audio blip into something that resembles speech. But the very next night, Brad spotted what looked like a figure lurking in the darkness once again. Too scared to move toward it, he stayed completely frozen and hit record. A motionless silhouette of a head and shoulders appears to be fixed on Brad from the shadowy doorway. It doesn't shift at any point during the recording, and the footage never actually shows it vanishing. Brad can only say that at some point after he stopped filming, the figure was simply no longer there. Maybe the shape is just a piece of furniture, some clothes hanging up, or a shadow playing tricks in the low light. But stacked against the moving case, the self-opening door, the unexplained voice, and his cat's deeply unsettled behavior, Brad is convinced that something invisible has made his bedroom its own. So the question remains, is his apartment genuinely haunted by a shadow figure, or has a creeping sense of dread turned a string of coincidences into something supernatural? A few months back, a man relocated to a remote house well outside the city, a secluded, disconnected place with nothing around for miles. One afternoon, a tiny stray kitten showed up on his doorstep. Intrigued, he pulled out his phone and started recording himself interacting with the little animal. What he never anticipated was that the footage would capture something deeply unsettling. Keep your eyes on every corner of the frame.
So I got the stray cat out here, right? Now I'll check on it. It's like cute as f***. And I look up. Cause see this shit. What? Oh, y'all see that? Is this disappearing? Nobody at all. What? Scary.
While the camera is rolling, the man spots an unusual figure standing out in the field directly ahead of him. It isn't moving at all, just motionless, fixed on him. Then after a few moments, it slowly turns and walks away until it's completely gone. He rushes over to the exact spot where it had been standing, desperate for answers, but there's nothing there whatsoever. His first assumption was that somebody was messing with him, and honestly, that seemed reasonable enough at the time. But things only got stranger as the nights went on. After dark, odd sounds began surrounding the house. A persistent, rhythmic knocking at the front door, always hitting in the dead of night during the early morning hours. Eventually, on one of those nights, he made the decision to answer it.
Oh my god, guys. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I just woke the fuck up. There's like prints, footsteps. Listen to it. Can y'all hear it? What? Oh hell no, what the f was that, dog? Hold up. Alright, yo, I gotta check. What the hell? Nobody out here. Nobody out here, what the f? I gotta go get my mom.
He swung the door open to find the porch completely empty. But here's the detail that changes everything. As he turns back around, he discovers that the figure is now standing inside the house with him, perfectly still and completely silent in the hallway, just watching him from behind. He bolted straight to his bedroom and barricaded himself inside until daylight. A lot of viewers believe that by opening that door, he unknowingly invited whatever this thing is across the threshold, because from that point forward, the disturbances inside the house became far more alarming.
Go talk to it. I'm gonna go talk to it. It's dog as I can't see shit. Trees. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's dark. Yeah. And scary as hell. Oh hell no! What the f is that? What the f? Oh hell no!
The figure keeps appearing indoors now, always stationary, always wordless, and the man is absolutely terrified. He says leaving simply isn't an option. Every penny he had went into buying that property. As for what this presence actually is, nobody has been able to say. No explanation has ever held up. This unsettling clip was captured on a cell phone, equipped with a pretty low-grade camera. The footage is grainy and hard to decipher, yet the person who filmed it insists it documents the single most frightening moment of his entire life, something he says he can still recall with absolute clarity. He explains that it all started late one night when strange sounds began echoing through his home. He initially brushed them off as nothing unusual, but soon enough a series of deeply troubling noises appeared to be coming from somewhere beneath the house. Convinced that something wasn't right, he pulled out his phone and hit record, then slowly and carefully headed down toward the basement.
So you're already down there with the cardboard cutout? Yeah. Alright. So ready to go? Yeah. Alright, that's pretty good. Can you move it a little bit to my left? Alright. A little bit further back. It's a little too visible. Just a little bit further back. Yo. Just like... Hello? I just need like a foot backwards. Dude. Joey. Here. What? Joe, where'd you go? Hello? Here. What are you doing upstairs? Dude, what are you doing? What the fuck? That ain't him. That ain't him. What the?
He finally makes it to the bottom of the stairs. The camera picks up a figure dressed head to toe in black, standing completely still and not making a sound. Then his gaze drifts toward the staircase, and there at the top stands another person, motionless and staring down at him. He bolts upstairs to face whoever it is, but when he gets there, the space is entirely vacant. A wave of dread washes over him. Then, as he swings back around toward the steps, something far more disturbing catches his eye. A head gradually emerges from behind the staircase, as if something has been lurking in the shadows below, watching him the whole time. He doesn't stop to think he turns and sprints, and just seconds later, the footage cuts out entirely. Mamu and Pati are a couple based in Mexico who make a habit of visiting locations rumored to be haunted. On one particular investigation, they head out to a cursed forest tied to the baffling disappearance of a woman who was never found. What they didn't expect, though, was for whatever lurked in those woods to come back with them.
No mames, no seas mamador, no seas mamón, güey. No. Allá adentro no hay nadie, ¿eh? Se los juro que allá adentro no hay nadie, güey. El cuarto está completamente solo.
¿Ahora qué mames? No sé, ¿lo grabas?
Aquí estamos nosotros. Sí, lo grabé. Checa, se va a ver.
Mamu and Pati start to grow genuinely frightened that something from the forest has attached itself to them. Their leading theory is that it could be the restless spirit of the missing woman, unable to find peace. Before long, the disturbances escalate to the point where the whole family is being jolted awake in the middle of the night.
¿Quién eres y qué quieres? Espérate. Ten cuidado, te vas a caer. Ay, cabrón.
Hay que bajar.
Ay.
En nombre de Jesús. Te ordeno que te largues de nuestra casa.
At one point, the couple hears what can only be described as a woman sobbing somewhere within the house. Mamu goes room to room searching for the source, but there's nobody there. The two of them have a habit of going live during their paranormal experiences, wanting their audience to witness everything in real time. Then one night, the family is disturbed again by sounds just outside their bedroom door, and Mamu wastes no time pulling out his phone and hitting broadcast.
Espérame aquí.
Yo te ordeno en nombre de nuestro Señor Jesucristo que te alejes, que te vayas.
Ay, Dios.
No tienes cabida en este hogar. No tienes cabida en nuestras vidas. En nombre de Jesucristo, yo te expulso y te despojo de este lugar. Te despojo. Lárgate. Ser inmundo.
People watching the live stream immediately spot what appears to be a woman's face peering in through the window, something Mamu himself completely misses in the moment. It's only after catching up with the comments flooding the chat that he realizes something may have shown up on camera.
En la ventana. ¿En esa?
Hijo.
En la ventana de las escaleras. Esa. ¿Qué vieron ahí? Sí, ¿qué vieron? ¿Qué vieron?
¿Qué había?
¿Qué había? ¿Pero qué?
Ay, no.
No mamen, no manches,
Mira.
no. Sí, no
Mira,
puede,
mira.
es imposible que haya alguien ahí parado. Y les voy a demostrar por qué. Ay, Dios, ya me da cosa bajar, hija. Miren.
No hay manera de que nosotros podamos subir a la superficie.
No, miren, ahí está la ventana, ¿sale? Jálale aquí, hija. Ay. Chéquense. ¿A dónde está la ventana? ¿Ya vieron? O sea, son aproximadamente como 4 o 5.
Mamu then turns the footage toward the exterior of the house, and that's where things get even harder to rationalize. That window sits on the second floor, well beyond the reach of anyone simply standing outside. So just what exactly did that live stream pick up? If something truly made the journey home from that forest with Mamu and Pati, it seems it may have finally made itself known. On April 16th, 2023, just before midnight, a man named Jacob is jolted awake by strange sounds coming from somewhere inside his home. This isn't the first time unexplained noises have disturbed him since he moved in, but something about tonight feels different, because this time, he knows exactly where they're coming from, the room where he keeps Jeffrey locked away.
She left it for me, and when I got here, I saw a bunch of cool stuff. And one of the best things is right behind here. Oh yeah.
Jacob inherited this house from his late grandmother, along with everything she left behind inside it, including a clown doll she had kept for years. From the moment he arrived, the place felt deeply unsettling, packed with strange vintage objects and odd sounds drifting through empty hallways. But nothing got under his skin quite like that clown. His grandmother had named it Jeffrey, an old porcelain figure with painted-on features and hollow, lifeless eyes that seemed to track your every movement across the room.
Grandma left him for me, I guess. Real creepy.
When Jacob first started posting footage of his inherited home online, viewers immediately fixated on Jeffrey, flooding the comments with warnings that the doll looked haunted and urging him to throw it out without delay. Some people were convinced the clown was possessed, and then one night, their worst predictions seemed to come true. He woke from a dead sleep to the sound of knocking coming from inside his closet.
I just heard knocking from the closet.
Heart hammering in his chest, he climbed out of bed and went to pull the closet open, forcing himself to look inside. Nothing was there. Shaken but relieved, he turned to head back to bed, completely unaware that what he was about to come face to face with would stop him cold. Jacob had left Jeffrey positioned facing the bed, but when he turned around, the clown had rotated completely, now staring straight at him as though it had been watching the whole time, patiently waiting for him to come looking. After that, Jacob decided to isolate Jeffrey in a separate room. The door kept shut around the clock, as far from his own bedroom as possible. But late on this particular night, a loud banging tears him out of sleep, and when he listens carefully, there's no mistaking it, the noise is coming from Jeffrey's room.
Just heard banging.
He makes his way over to investigate, and just as he reaches the door, a loud crash erupts from somewhere downstairs. He peers nervously down the staircase, and then comes the unmistakable sound of footsteps climbing toward him. Yet when he looks, there is absolutely nobody there. The heavy banging from the room starts up again, and then something triggers see for yourself what the camera caught. Jeffrey's door drifts open on its own, and what Jacob finds on the other side leaves him frozen. The clown's head has moved. He had deliberately positioned Jeffrey facing the wall so he'd never have to look at its face. Now it has turned completely around, aimed directly at the doorway, staring right at him as if it had been waiting the entire time for him to show up. Jacob cuts the recording on the spot, retreats to his bedroom, and doesn't step back out until daylight. After that night, he has no doubt left in his mind Jeffrey is haunted, and there is absolutely no chance he's letting that thing anywhere near where he sleeps. He moves the doll down to the basement, as far from his room as the house allows, and sets up a security camera aimed directly at it, programmed to send him an instant alert the moment any movement is detected. A few nights pass, and then his phone buzzes. He pulls up the live feed and notices the camera swinging and rotating side to side. At first, it doesn't concern him. He recalls the camera is resting on top of a timer-controlled heater that rotates when it kicks on. But then, as he keeps watching, something happens that he simply cannot rationalize away. As the camera sweeps back and forth across the basement, Jeffrey's arm rises and shifts position entirely on its own, with no one anywhere near it. And then, a split second later, the light bulb hanging directly above Jeffrey detonates with a sharp crack, dropping the entire basement into total darkness. Jeffrey remains confined to the basement, with the camera locked onto him at all times. But sealing something behind a door doesn't make it stop, it just means you won't be in the room to see it when it does. So tell me, what's your read on this clown? The first warning didn't come from any camera, it came from a little girl. A woman who had recently moved into this home with her daughter, roughly 6 weeks prior, had already begun to suspect something unseen was sharing their space. Strange things kept happening, and her daughter kept saying she felt like someone was watching her. That was enough for the mother to mount CCTV cameras around the house. For a while, everything appeared fine, but then came August 14th, 2025, when the mother noticed an unusual red mark on her daughter's hand. She pulled up the security footage to find out what had happened, and what she found was deeply disturbing. See for yourself.
The casino, she's playing to avenge Paul's death. She lures Victor into a trap, letting him gain his confidence, win a few hands, just to see what his tendencies are. But then she goes for the throat.
Within 4 hours, Sally has cleaned Victor out, winning the entire $100,000.
Frequently, in a poker game like this, because the stakes are so high and emotions are so high, often these disputes are carried away from the poker table. You would become so angry that you would act out violently.
Instead of just leaving.
While the girl was alone in the living room, a small object came flying in her direction out of nowhere. She drifted toward the sofa, visibly puzzled and uneasy. Then, without warning, something either bit or jabbed her hand. She yanked it back with a sharp cry of pain, and at that very same instant, a plastic bag sitting on the sofa dropped to the floor on its own. Completely frightened, the girl screamed for her mother and bolted from the room. The mother later noted that the mark on her daughter's hand resembled a burn more than a bite wound, and the object that had been thrown turned out to be a piece of gravel from a flower pot, except there was no flower pot anywhere near that area. There was also no fan or air current that could explain why the plastic bag fell. Understandably, this left the mother shaken and genuinely worried about her daughter's well-being. A number of people watching the footage claim they can make out a strange noise coming from the living room at the exact moment the girl looks confused, and many of them are convinced this house is haunted. I've brought up before that within the paranormal community, there's a strong belief that anyone moving into a new home should look into the history of whoever lived there before, because spirits tied to past tragedies in a property may turn their attention toward whoever moves in next. What do you make of all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Santa Maria Inn, constructed in 1917, stands as one of California's most historic hotels, and according to many, one of its most haunted. A guest named Marfa was staying there with her husband and their dog, Oreo. During a stroll through one of the hotel's corridors, Oreo suddenly started acting very unusual, prompting the couple to pull out their phone and start filming.
He was looking at the... Look, he's looking at... He's looking at the bench. Oreo's freaking out, guys. Is there somebody sitting there? Hey. He doesn't want to go by it. It's all right. Come on. Come on, Oreo.
The dog appeared frightened and flat out refused to approach a bench sitting along the hallway wall, but that's not even the most unsettling part, because when they reviewed the footage afterward, what they heard made their blood run cold.
Did you hear that?
What the f*** did he say?
There's somebody sitting there. Hey. He doesn't want to go by it. It's all right. Come on.
At the exact moment Oreo is backing away from that bench, a disembodied voice can clearly be heard on the recording whispering, "Come back, come back." The couple is convinced their dog was picking up on some kind of presence lurking within the hotel, but as always, I'll leave that for you to decide. Paranormal investigator Mark Reyes uploaded footage from a late-night ghost hunt he conducted with his family at the Evangelical Spiritual Church in Cicero, Illinois. The building previously served as a funeral home and reportedly carries a deep history of unexplained activity. At one point during the investigation, their EMF meter starts going off in response to something completely invisible to them. Catch that?
Are you afraid? That room over there is scary. Have you seen it? This one. Come here. This one. This is a private office.
So you can be in there.
No, I'm saying that it's open because we could.
Mommy, so you can go in there, Mommy. So you can go in there.
Over on the far end of the church, a woman dressed in what looks like a white gown is visible standing directly behind the family. According to Mark, his daughter sensed a presence nearby and turned around, yet none of them actually registered the figure in that moment. It was only after they returned home and went back through the footage that they understood what the camera had actually recorded. So was there simply someone else in the building that night? Or did this family unknowingly come face to face with a spirit tied to the old funeral home? Next clips come from a TikTok account you can see on screen right now. The account is run by a woman named Katie, who makes her living as a professional house cleaner. She's worked in countless properties over the years, but nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to walk into. The home had recently passed to a new owner through inheritance, and the previous occupant had apparently struggled with severe hoarding. Before the crew ever showed up, all they had to go on were a few photos the owner had sent over. But the moment they walked through the front door, it became immediately clear the situation was dramatically worse than anyone had described. One of the cleaners pulled out their phone to document what they were dealing with so their boss could see it firsthand. And here's the footage they got.
Your favorite mannequins. What is that? That's so cute, right? Oh, the smell is so bad. It smells so. Oh my god, what is that? Yeah. Flies? Oh, shut the door. Oh, no! Look at Thomas the Gem, you like him. Oh my god, it just moved again. And it actually comes towards us. What have you gotten us into? Oh my god, really?
Their initial reaction was to wonder whether the toy had some kind of internal mechanism still running. Once everyone settled down, they went back and examined the footage more carefully, and that's when something unsettling became clear. The toy had no batteries, no motor, nothing that could account for what they'd just seen. The experience rattled the crew badly enough that they refused to set foot back in that house. A few days passed though, and the homeowner got back in touch, asking them to come back and complete the work.
We told her that we would be willing to come back, but only under 3 conditions. The first being that we needed to come up with a new estimate, one that properly reflected the state of the house, like for how actually cluttered, dirty, and disgusting it actually was. Second, that the Thomas the Tank Engine toy would absolutely not be in the house, that we did not want to be in the house with it. And third, that she examine the Thomas the Tank Engine toys and take photos and provide us with photos to show us that the train toy is just plastic, that there's no motor, there's no battery, there's no remote, that there's nothing there to show that.
They said yes, but only under certain terms. And the first condition was that the toy needed to be out of the house before they returned. Even with that taken care of, Katie couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. At one point while she was working, she glanced toward the window and what she saw next stopped her cold.
What is it? Come here, come see.
Get out. We have to burn that thing. And then... That is so scary.
Crazy.
As the cleaning continued, Katie found herself drawn to some old family photographs the homeowner had shared with her. Something in one of those images caught her eye, and rather than answering any questions, it only seemed to raise new ones.
Us when we were doing the first estimate, there was a picture of a photo album. And in the album, there's a picture of a child. I'm obviously going to post the pictures above, the face blurred, of course, but you can see the kid on it.
Look carefully when I take the video of the mantle. There are these blue bowls stacked up, and in those bowls are some Polaroid pictures. And if you look really closely, you can see that in the pictures is the Thomas train that we keep seeing move. And on this Thomas train is a boy. He looks to be like around 9 or so. And I don't know anything about him. I don't know who he is. The owner didn't tell us anything about him. But he's definitely riding that Thomas train that we keep seeing move. So we don't know anything about this boy. We don't know if he still lives here, this was a long time ago, if he's still alive for for that matter. And given what we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that maybe he isn't.
Katie has come to believe that toy may have originally belonged to the young boy she kept seeing in those pictures. She began to wonder whether he had died and somehow remained tethered to the objects he cherished in life. Then, during a later exchange with the homeowner, a new piece of information came to light that made the whole thing even harder to explain.
Hello?
Hi, this is Katie.
Yes.
Hey, I was just calling because I had some questions about something that we found in your house.
Well, that is very personal.
I know, and
that was my nephew.
That was the...
Yes. So, you know, after you sent me the video, you know, I'm wondering too, because that was his train. And
that was his train?
Yes. And so when you told me that, and then I saw what you were talking about, I don't know what to think. I mean, I don't know how to take it, but, you know, from, heaven, or, I don't know, some kind of supernatural thing. I really don't know what to think.
But you do feel like that it's your nephew moving the train?
Well, you know, anything can happen. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's possible that is what's happening. It's possible. And also, I'm sorry, but thank you for cleaning my house. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, of course. That's what we do.
Okay, you did a good job.
Thank you
so much.
No, of course.
Okay, have a good night.
Thanks, you too, Sandra.
The homeowner eventually handed over additional security camera recordings taken outside the property. What's striking is that the strange activity appears to cluster around objects that had belonged to that same little boy, adding yet another unsettling dimension to an already baffling situation. Katie's personal belief is that whatever is happening in that house is tied directly to the boy and the possessions he loved. Not everyone sees it that way, though. Some people have pointed out that if something genuinely unexplained is at work here, it might not be the child at all. It could be something else entirely, using the idea of an innocent boy to appear trustworthy. No matter how you look at it, what happened in that house still has no clear answer. So where do you land on this? Was it all just a run of bizarre coincidences, or was there truly something beyond explanation going on inside those walls? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This one comes from a woman named Sally who was home by herself one day and decided to spend some time in the kitchen. At some point, she stepped outside, and as she walked past a window, her phone automatically started recording. But when she looked back at the footage, she realized she hadn't been as alone as she thought. It's something she says she still has no explanation for to this day. As Erica moved through the kitchen, a dark shape began shifting around behind her. It stepped into view, hunched forward, then moved off to one side before reappearing. And that's when things got really unsettling. A second shadowy figure seemed to trail right behind her. As she walked away, the dark silhouette straightened up completely, appearing to stare directly at the woman ahead of it. This doesn't seem like it could just be her own shadow, and honestly, it looks a lot more like what people describe as a shadow person. This baby monitor footage appears completely normal at first glance. The nursery is still, the infant is sound asleep, and everything looks exactly as it should. Then after just a few seconds, something deeply disturbing makes itself known just beyond the window. Judge for yourself what you're seeing. A ghostly face, accompanied by what appear to be two hands, gradually creeps into frame, as though some presence is peering in silently from the dark outside. It lingers just long enough to send a chill down your spine before vanishing without a trace. And that's not where the strangeness stops. Shortly after, the entire room plunges into darkness when the lights cut out on their own, with nobody having stepped foot inside. The family later stated that the window had been fitted with a child safety lock, which would make it virtually impossible to reach from the exterior. Whether this turns out to be an elaborate prank, some kind of lens artifact, or something that defies easy explanation, no one has ever managed to account for what this footage actually shows, and it remains an open mystery to this day. A clip that's been making the rounds lately captures what starts as a completely unremarkable scene before taking a turn that nobody could have anticipated. It begins with a man, seemingly from an Arab household judging by the surroundings, and the way everything unfolds, standing out in what appears to be a yard or open courtyard, casually messing around with a ball. There's no tension in those opening moments whatsoever. He's at ease, bouncing or kicking the ball around on his own, the kind of low-stakes, forgettable moment people record without any expectation that it'll amount to anything worth watching. Then out of nowhere, a child materializes in the shot, not strolling in from the edge of the frame, not coming into view the way someone approaching normally would, just instantly present, in a manner that visibly catches the man completely off guard. What gives the footage its unsettling quality isn't only how suddenly the child appears, but the sound that accompanies it. A high-pitched, drawn-out laugh that feels slightly wrong in a way that's difficult to put into words, yet registers immediately with anyone who hears it. Not the kind of reaction you'd expect from a child in that situation under normal circumstances. The man's response communicates everything. He recoils sharply, clearly rattled, and every bit of his body language signals that whatever he found himself face to face with was the last thing he expected to be sharing that space with moments before. The ball stops mattering entirely, his attention locks onto the child, and his only priority becomes putting distance between himself and whatever just happened. This next clip has no confirmed origin, though it's widely thought to have been filmed somewhere in the United States. It's actually pretty common for employees in the cremation industry to report strange, unexplainable experiences on the job. Things like hearing voices with no source or spotting unusual figures while they work. What's particularly notable is that many of these workers say the incidents tend to happen at the precise moment a body is loaded into the cremator. This footage may be capturing exactly that. Watch closely as the worker slowly slides the casket holding the deceased into the cremator. Keep your eyes fixed on the area directly in front of the camera. A faint, semi-transparent shape sweeps quickly past the lens. The timing here is what makes this so hard to dismiss. The anomaly appears and moves across the frame at the very instant the body passes through into the fire. A lot of spiritualists hold the belief that the soul stays connected to its physical form right up until the moment that body is destroyed, which might just explain why this apparition seems to break free the second the cremation gets underway. Hotel in Latin America recently sent the internet into a frenzy after its official TikTok account posted a deeply unsettling clip that racked up views and ignited fierce debate online. According to the staff, when they went to service one of the guest rooms, they discovered the entire space had been completely wrecked and turned upside down. What made this even harder to explain was the fact that the room had been locked tight and sitting empty. Nobody had set foot inside for over a week. Initially, the employees assumed someone must have broken in somehow, but as time went on, the same thing kept repeating itself over and over. Every single time they checked on that room, it had been torn apart for no reason anyone could identify, yet not a single item had been taken. Stranger still, both the door and the windows were still locked each time, with absolutely no evidence of a break-in. Then on this particular occasion, one of the staff members may have unwittingly recorded something absolutely chilling on camera. See for yourself what the footage revealed.
Veía una persona en la habitación 30 y le dije no, y me dice, ¿está ocupada? Le digo no, se desocupó en la mañana y no hay nadie. Yo misma fui a ventilar esa habitación y ahorita que voy pasando por acá me doy cuenta que sí es cierto, se ve como que si alguien se estuviera asomando en la ventana. Vamos a ver qué es lo que pasa, vamos a ver qué hay ahí, pero se supone que no hay nada y sigue ahí moviéndose. Aquí más cerquita, sí, miren, ahí se alcanza a ver una cara, unos ojos. Vamos a ver a esa habitación. Estamos subiendo las escaleras porque desde ahí es donde estábamos viendo que se veía. Aquí ya no se ve nada, a lo mejor por el reflejo de la luz. Y vamos a ver en la habitación. Aquí está la cama, porque esta es una habitación pequeña. Aquí pues no se ve nada. Y aquí está la tele donde estábamos, donde se supone que se veía, pero no se ve nada. No entiendo por qué se ve.
Once the image is sharpened and enhanced, something becomes disturbingly visible inside that room. There appears to be an enormous pale face with deeply wrong, unsettling features lurking in the shadows. But the instant the woman steps through the doorway, it disappears completely as though it was never there. Just moments later, a thunderous bang rings out from somewhere inside. The woman immediately lets out a scream and bolts from the room in sheer panic.
Pero no se ve nada. No entiendo por qué se ve.
A large number of viewers believe that the horrifying face captured in that frame is directly tied to the mysterious destruction being found in the room. Some even argued that the face appeared far too distorted and inhuman to belong to any living person, which has led many to conclude that something genuinely supernatural may be taking place inside that room. On October 3rd, 2025, a TikTok creator going by the name Marshmob posted a clip filmed inside his home somewhere in Appalachia, prompted by a bizarre noise he kept hearing outside in the dead of night. Judge for yourself what you make of it. All throughout the footage, an eerie whistling sound drifts in from somewhere beyond the walls of the house. At one point, Marshmob even swings the camera around to his own face to prove the noise isn't coming from him, and he looks just as baffled as the people watching. Not long after, he posted a follow-up video from the same spot after more strange activity caught his attention. This time, there's actually something to see. Right in this moment, if you keep your eyes on the area outside, you can just barely make out what looks like a tall figure crossing the property before it slips out of frame only seconds later. A lot of commenters felt that the combination of the unexplained whistling and the shadowy figure was pointing straight at a skinwalker, though it's worth mentioning that skinwalkers actually come from Navajo tradition, rather than anything rooted in Appalachian folklore. A more rational explanation would be that the figure was simply someone passing through outside, and the whistling could have been an animal or a nearby person. With just these 2 brief clips as evidence, there's really no way to say for certain what was going on. Whether this footage captured something truly strange or has a perfectly mundane explanation, it's hard to deny it makes for a deeply unsettling thing to stumble across late at night. What do you think is the most likely? This clip was submitted by Edward Trinidad, who says his father worked the night shift at a golf course. One night, while operating a small maintenance vehicle, his dash cam picked up something that, in all his years on the job, he had never encountered before. To this day, he has no explanation for what it recorded.
Siguiendo la moon.
What you're looking at is not a lens artifact or some kind of reflection. A faint whitish haze drifts across the path, seemingly materializing from nothing. It's translucent, there for only a split second, yet it moves with what almost feels like purpose before vanishing entirely. There's a long-held belief that ghostly presences often first appear as smoke or mist. They don't necessarily take a human shape. Instead, they seem to briefly solidify, as though attempting to pass through a boundary they were never meant to cross. Perhaps footage like this is actually the root of those age-old descriptions of ghosts as wispy and vaporous, like an echo caught between 2 different planes of existence. So does this give us a glimpse into what spirits truly look like, or is it nothing more than a strange coincidence captured on camera? The question lingers without an answer. Picture yourself sound asleep when you suddenly feel something slithering across your neck. The next clip comes from a home security camera set up inside a bedroom. In the footage, a husband and wife are lying in bed with their small children nestled between them. Then deep in the night, this occurred. A snake-like entity seems to emerge from a gap in the wall and slowly makes its way toward the sleeping woman's head. She stirs, sensing something brushing against her, and jolts awake. Both she and her husband search the room frantically, but turn up nothing. After watching back the security footage later, the woman is left completely shaken and horrified. She has absolutely no explanation for what the thing was or how it managed to get inside. According to her, the window was shut tight, and there was no visible gap or crack anywhere in the wall. Next unsettling story was brought to light by the YouTube channel Flash Podcast, Haunted City Studios. So a woman by the name of Bernice takes to Facebook claiming she's been going through some deeply strange experiences, believing that some kind of spirit or entity has latched onto both her and her youngest daughter. According to Bernice, whenever she photographs her daughter these days, the images that come back are deeply wrong and disturbing. She uploaded a handful of pictures that really drive that point home. The first one is a shot Bernice took of her youngest daughter in the swimming pool. Her sister is playfully pushing her beneath the surface, but her face looks like this.
Oh my.
That's not right.
Oh my gosh.
The daughter's face looks like a horror special effect.
It really does.
It looks like a mask.
Right.
Deep set dark eyes, very pale skin. It's unsettling to look at because you're trying to make...
As you just saw, for whatever reason, Bernice's daughter's face in that photo is just... it doesn't even resemble a face anymore. Bernice then shared another shot she took of her little girl crouching on top of a bed.
Nope. That's
Look at her
really,
face, though. Here's the thing.
Really weird.
Here's the thing. Look, what is that? Like,
this child might be possessed, like for real.
It is very upsetting to look at this and think it could be anything like that.
Now, if this really is some dark spiritual presence making itself known through Bernice's photographs, it isn't confining itself to her daughter alone. When Bernice receives a speeding violation in the mail, captured by an automated traffic camera, something strange turns up in that image as well.
Insane.
Yeah.
There's a figure sitting next to her. It's very clear. And it actually, when I first saw it, I thought it was an old woman.
That's what I thought. That's what I still think.
But then, the more I look at it, the more I see kind of classic depictions of, big head, small neck kind of entity.
I think there's two.
There appears to be a figure with an oversized, distorted head occupying the passenger seat right beside her. So what do you make of everything showing up in Bernice's photos lately, including ones she had absolutely no hand in taking herself? Drop your thoughts below. For this next entry, we're turning our attention to yet another UAP clip from the recently published batch on the United States Department of War website. The footage, cataloged as Diablo UAP PR056, was reportedly recorded in 2024 through an infrared sensor mounted on a U.S. military platform and later submitted to the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office known as AARO. Much like the other clips included in this release, almost no additional context was made available alongside the footage itself. See for yourself what the sensor captured. In the video, a luminous object is visible hovering above the water, appearing to pulse rhythmically as it travels across the frame. As the clip progresses, the object also seems to accelerate, which makes the whole sequence all the more compelling to watch. The accompanying documentation actually describes the object as pulsing, a detail that lines up with what you can observe directly in the recording. Beyond that, though, the surrounding circumstances remain largely unknown, which makes drawing any firm conclusions about what was detected genuinely difficult. It's entirely possible that the unusual visual characteristics and movement are artifacts of the infrared imaging system, or the way the platform was tracking the object. At the same time, the case has gone unresolved, and that open-ended status naturally invites all kinds of theories. Either way, it stands as another intriguing piece of the growing library of officially declassified UAP material. So where do you land on this one? Was this a mundane object caught under peculiar conditions, or something that genuinely defies easy explanation? The following footage was captured by a surveillance camera in the middle of the night. At approximately 2 o'clock a.m., a security guard received a call from a colleague warning him that somebody seemed to be lurking around the company's premises. Worried by what he'd been told, the guard headed outside to investigate. What he encountered out there, though, left him completely shaken. In Initially, the security guard tilted his head upward as if something above him had caught his attention. Seconds later, he suddenly dropped down and pressed himself against a wall, reacting like whatever he'd just seen had genuinely terrified him. Then things took a truly bizarre turn. Out of thin air, a semi-transparent humanoid form briefly materialized, though only the lower half of its body was visible, with no torso or head anywhere to be seen. Just as fast as it showed up, the strange figure disappeared entirely. It almost looked as though the thing had descended straight out of the sky. So what do you think that was?